Alright guys, so welcome to my fourth video. This might be a little bit of a shorter one. Um, Basically, what we're going to be going over is the setup for solo plays. And this will include air dribbles, flip resets, ceiling shots, whatever comes off the wall essentially. And if you're just getting into it, like it's all in the setup, man. Like everything after your first touch that comes off the wall, that's all car control, and we'll get into that later. But I'm just gonna go through kind of a quick step process of how to get a consistent setup every time, right? And free play is definitely the best option to do this. You can make a training pack for yourself as well. I like free play just because it forces you to, make your own setup. But with that being said, I want you guys to focus on quality setups rather than quantity, right? So when we're starting out, just learning air dribbles, just learning flip resets, we want to always reset to the middle, right? Always reset to the middle. What I see a lot of kind of, you know, attempt after attempt and then end up will becoming at the wall like an angle like this, right? So, and that's not really what I want to see from you guys when you're first starting out. I don't want to see this type of angle here, right? Because now we're going to have so much forward momentum, and we're usually going to end up on kind of this side of the field, right? So if we can reset every single time and go middle, and I'm approaching this at maybe like a 10 to 15 degree angle, like we're not obviously perpendicular to the wall, and we're not going to be really obtuse, but I'm gonna aim like just to the side of that, that mid boost, right? Um, but we can kind of go like that's kind of step one. It's just making sure this is our alignment, right? Because whatever happens from here, we're going to be fighting towards the mid, and it's going to set us up underneath the ball rather than taking a really like obtuse angle, and then we're going to be almost pushing the ball forward, and we can kind of show how those kind of attempts looks with those various setups. But yeah, that's step one is just making sure your angle is right. So just a hair off a perpendicular, aiming towards like the goal that you want to score at. And that's number one. Number two, and you probably heard a lot, is that we want to match the car speed with the ball speed, right? So as we approach the wall, doesn't matter how slow we're going, I'd rather you go a little bit faster, just because if our initial setup is slow, then our follow through is going to be a lot more difficult. Um, but as long as the ball and us are approaching the wall at the same speed, that's going to be key. Because if the ball is going too slow, right, and we approach the wall with a lot more speed than the ball, it's just going to go straight to the ceiling, right? And then we're going to have to worry about that ball going straight off the ceiling, and we're not going to be able to get underneath the ball and be able to push it up because that ball already has so much momentum going up already, right? Um, so that's key. It's just making sure that our speed is at a decent pace and that it's the same as like the ball and the car, like the same exact speed, right? So step one, just making sure our angle is there, and step two, just making sure as we approach the wall, same speed, right? But with that being said, we don't want to approach the wall as we're contacting the ball. Like I don't want to contact the ball like that. It'll just pinch off my car. It'll go way too far out in front of me. Right when we get to about like maybe 3 or 4 car lengths away from the wall, just tap brake. Literally just tap brake. And that's going to separate, that's going to allow the ball to get in front of you, right? And it's going to slow your car down. So from there, after we gain separation, we're going to have to then speed our car up just a little bit to get back to that equal speed, right? So now we're going to be away from the ball, but we're going to be maintaining that same speed, right? And then as this ball rolls up the wall, right when it hits this kind of perpendicular aspect of this wall, you see how this banner, it's a curve, and then right above it, it becomes perpendicular. This is where I want you guys to be making the contact on the ball, right? And right as we're making contact, that's when you throw in your single jump, right? So just going over everything kind of, in conglomeration. Step one, making sure our angle is there. Step two, making sure our car speed and the ball speed are the same. And step three, and probably the most important, is creating a little bit of separation. So just leading up to this, same speed, tap on brake, right? So I'm tapping on brake just to make sure that have like maybe 1 or 2 car lengths, maybe three. Um, Not one. Yeah, 2 or 3 car lengths of distance between us and the ball, right? We don't want to be too far away. and we don't want to be too close, right? So it's kind of like a middle ground. So something like this, as I get close, I'm going to be separating myself from the ball, right? And then we continue that into that first touch. And remember, as we're getting that first touch, we're going to be jumping at the same time, right? And this is not mechanical at all. Like, obviously, getting in a position where we're lining this ball up properly is a mechanic in itself, and that can take some practice. And I want you guys to be patient with shelves because mechanics can take a long time to get get good at, right? I know this is going to be a quick tutorial, and I might clip it the fuck out of it saying learn how to air dribble in 5 minutes. But if we can really nail this setup, it's going to make everything so much easier, right? It's going to create quality attempts rather than focusing on quantity of attempts. And that's really what I want to see when we're starting out, right? So approach the ball with the same speed, separate, single jump just there, right? And just this simple setup here, it makes everything so much easier, right? Like I can be like as long as I have this setup kind of down, I will have the perfect setup for whatever I want to do every single time, right? I'm positioned under the ball. I can go to the ceiling from there. I can fight for a reset from there. I can go to an air dribble from there. And then everything up there is like kind of up to your like what you want to do, right? I mean, it's perfect setup every time, right? As long as we're keeping in mind all these steps in our head, we're approaching the wall with the same speed. We're tapping brake to separate, and then we're compensating by speeding our car up just a little bit while maintaining that separation between the ball and the car, and allowing that ball to roll up past that banner to that perpendicular wall and jumping right as we make contact with the ball. If we're they're all simple steps, right? But it's a lot of steps, and we put them together and we execute them properly, leading up. Once we're in the air, we're in the perfect position, right? And that's half the battle. Once we get that good first touch and are in a good position, then it's just air control, right? Even if I don't know how to air roll yet, as long as I get a good setup like this, I can just fight through the ball kind of like this because I'm naturally underneath it, right? Like I'm not air rolling at all there. Like obviously I have the mechanics to air roll, but like I'm right under the ball, and that's all through this setup, right? And this setup is as simple as possible, right? You could take your time with it. I mean, there's no rush into, I mean, I might be making this look easy, but it's not necessarily easy, right? But this is exactly what I want. I don't want you guys to, go for go for setups and then maybe mess up your setup and then you're catching here and then we're getting a little sloppy and now we have a really obtuse angle and then as I said, whatever air dribble we have, we're gonna end up on this near post, right? And I don't want you like, you know, getting this way and then, trying to set up from something like that and then, getting frustrated because it's not, it's not working out the way you want. At least when starting out, right? Obviously, when we get better with this, we need to get comfortable with hitting this ball around and setting up these solo plays from whatever bounce and speed the ball has and being able to essentially create like any bounce on the ball into this, right? Like it all comes down to this. It doesn't matter if like this ball is like going here like during game, like I have a ball to deal with here. Let's say I want to go to like the left wall. I want to be able to catch this ball, speed up, separate, and then contact right there. Like it's all the same thing, right? Like it's a harder setup because I'm not directly behind the ball to begin with. But you can see I'm creating like control with the ball, and then I'm separating myself from the ball. I'm letting the ball just past that banner, and then I'm hitting that ball right as I'm making contact. I'm single jumping, all while my angle is pretty perpendicular, right? I'm not obtuse. And this, I mean, the trajectory of the ball is right on target, right? So all I have to do is just kind of follow this in. And then from here, it's just air control. And it's the same thing with flip resets. It's the same thing with ceiling shots. I mean, I mean, I can go in depth in a different video. Like if I want to go for a reset, it's the exact same setup, right? And then from there, you can do whatever you want. And then it's the same with the ceiling shot, right? I mean, 3 different shots, anything solo off the wall, it's going to have the same exact thing. And I'm fighting to the ceiling, and I have a ceiling shot to work with, right? So 3 different mechanics. I mean, you can do maximum resets, you can do rapid resets. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, 99% of things that you're going to do off the solo off the wall is going to incorporate these kind of steps, right? So match the speed, separate, contact right above, we're right under the ball. So we can do whatever we want. We can work on pop resets, we can work on whatever we want. right? And it all stems from making this setup as simple as possible, right? So now once we're good at this, we can go to this wall, right? And if we're good at that wall, now we can, practice, taking a dribble and then setting it up from here. Making it as simple as possible to begin with is going to make it that much easier to get better at, and it's also going to be more enjoyable, right? Because getting quality setups over and over and over again, I mean, it's going to fuel your ego. Like, essentially, it's going to fuel your ego. You're going to feel better. You're going to feel more mechanical when we get this quality setup. And this all happens just because we follow these simple steps, right? So it can be as basic as possible, right? I mean, we don't have to air roll. And then from here, it's just air control. Like, once I get this touch right here, once I single jump here, then that's car control. After that, it's car control. And you're like, oh, well, Kelso, I thought I have shit car control. How do I practice car control? Dude, like, simplify it. Rings maps, dude. Any rings map is going to be good. I mean, orbital rings is fun. This one made by Fractal, I think. He's like this task demon. Um, and it just forces you to fly through some rings. I mean, everyone knows what rings map is, right? And all this is practicing your car control. And Lethamir has some good ones that I can show y'all. He's got a medieval one that's pretty fun. He's got a Neon Heights one that's really popular. I like fractals just because it looks really cool. But you can practice air rolling, you can practice not air rolling, you can practice, flying backwards, you can practice flying sideways, like incorporating everything here. Like I can complete this whole level like this, or I can complete this whole level like this. Um, Ideally, you're not hitting the ring there, but there's some really cool ones. Like I really like the Lethamir medieval map, and once we get that setup that we're talking about, getting those steps down, making sure that we're really focusing on making sure the ball doesn't have a bounce when we're approaching the wall, making sure it's really on the ground. We don't want it bouncing at all because then it's going to bounce off the wall and then we have to adapt from there, which is something you're going to have to get good at eventually. But when we're starting out as like beginners, golds, platinums, whatever, or like a really unmechanical, diamond or champ, like being able to simplify those setups is going to be key. And then from there, we're going to have, those bounces that I talked about during game that we're going to have to control and then adapt from there. Sometimes there's just going to be a ball that's approaching the wall at a perfect speed. And then we have to make sure is like sometimes we don't have to touch the ball to get to the wall at all. Maybe our teammate kind of gets a 50 that goes to the wall. It has really good speed. And then from there, all we have to make sure to do is align our car so, we're at that acute angle, not too perpendicular, not too obtuse, and we're matching the speed with the ball. And then from there, making sure that ball goes obviously higher than that banner, getting that single jump touch right when we touch the ball that we were talking about. And then from there, as long as we're practicing these rings maps here, I mean, this is half the battle. This is car control. You're gonna have to work on ball control as well, and that's gonna happen through your repetitions of air dribbles, right? Air dribbles is a simple mechanic, but it's still a mechanic, right? It's still, in essence, a freestyle mechanic. Like it's difficult. It's going to take time to learn. My title may say, "Learn how to air dribble or flip reset in 5 minutes." Congrats! I just clickbaited the fuck out of you. But it really is that simple. Knowing what to do takes 5 minutes, but implementing that during your gameplay and being able to, apply that in free play is a different thing, and then during game is a completely new battle, right? And then you're going to have the issue of not being able to have those setups during game, and that goes back to rotation, right? So making sure we're making the right rotational mistakes to allow us to give us space, right? Um, and that's all Rocket League is, right? It's just mechanics and rotation to allow us to get space to work on those mechanics, right? But really, it's that simple. If y'all want me to go more in depth of like resets or air dribbles or ceiling shots in general, like I can make dedicated videos for that, but this is kind of just the setup, right? Um, like just making sure our setup is as clean as possible every time. And like I'm right here every single time, as long as we're maintaining, resetting to the middle every single time. We're making sure we're at this angle. We don't have a bouncing ball like this. That's going to make it a little bit difficult. Just be really confident approaching the ball. We don't want to go too fast. We don't want to go too slow. Just making sure we have a proper amount of speed and then making contact just above that banner. And it makes it so easy for us to do whatever we want, right? In there, from there, you can practice, kind of whatever you want. And this is just wall setups. I mean, there's ground setups as well. Um, and you might be watching this like, oh, I'm not PC. I don't have access to workshop maps. Well, I was on console for like 2 years, 3 years before PC. And what I did is I went from, I mean, you could use the Fours map too. I mean, the Fours map is huge. That could give you more real estate to kind of work with, right? And I think there's still ways you can use like these custom training packs. Like if you look it up, I don't know if they work or not, but it'll put you like outside of like DF8 Stadium, so you can like fly through the buildings and stuff like that. But what I did is first I went from field to field, just like this, right? Like maybe I was aiming for crossbar, and I would aim for crossbar, and I'd do repetitions of that over and over and over again. Then I do this, same thing, go from goal to goal, hit the crossbar, bang. Then once I got comfortable with that, I would fly first, then I would go halfway, right? Hit the crossbar or roll off the crossbar. Just pick something you want to aim at and then go to that, right? Like that building on the left, just to the right of those trees. I'm going to try to hit the top of, those little poles that ride up the wall that go to the ceiling. Like I'm going to hit the top of one of those, right? So you can air roll or what, like, and we'll hit that every single time. It's just predetermining something that you want to go to and doing that. That's just what a rings map is. Rings just simplifies it because it tells you exactly where to go. This just requires a little bit more, obviously, um, creativity. Like, let's go to that blue banner over there, like that tall one over there. So I'll take out wall cam, go to that blue banner over there, and then bang. Like it's just repetition like this. Then I'll land, pick something, I'll go to the blue banner again, right? And I'll try reverse aerialing, and then I'll land here, right? And then let me go to the top of that mountain right there. So I'll hit the peak of that mountain right there. And then let's air roll, and then I'm gonna land on the inside of this post, right? It's just picking things to aim at, and then forcing yourself to like get there, right? So maybe I'll fight this way and then land on the top, right? And then maybe I want to go to the ceiling and then be able to float down and then also land on the ceiling here. Like you can get super creative. You can make it as difficult or as easy as you want. It really doesn't matter. Just be creative. Like as a console player, I'm sure there's like those maps like outside of the map things that I told you about. Forest map gives you more real estate to kind of float around, or you can like those like pillars maps, like the Rocket Labs maps. You can go like this. You can float around the pillars. You can go that way, and you can fight to go the other way as well. You can do it without air roll. You can do it by maintaining this sort of orientation on your car. You have to kind of go in a circle or something like that. You can fight to the ceiling. You can go here, and then you can fight to the ceiling again, and then go here, and then I'll use my flip and aim for the crossbar. Like, just be creative. Like, challenge your mechanics. Don't just do simple things over and over again, right? I mean, ideally, you're on PC and you can kind of have access to these workshop maps, which will make obviously everything a lot easier. Um, but if you're on console, like right there, it's same setup. Like obviously I'm going the wrong way. I didn't get the greatest touch ever, but it's the same setup, right? Like from a ball like this, maybe comes from my teammate, and then I can get comfortable with getting a touch like that on the wall, making sure I get a touch, and then I can add that from there, right? And then you'll learn these different adaptations, right? Like I can get a touch on this ball and then wait and then fly at it later, right? It's obviously more advanced, but this is like a simple progression, right? That's how you get good at mechanics. You start simple and then you progress, right? So you start like this, you progress to the other wall. Maybe you then go a little bit deeper, or you start, dribbling like this, and that's how you make a setup. or you start like from practicing air dribbles to ceiling shots, and then maybe you want to practice resets. But everything, in a nutshell, 99% of things that come off the wall is going to incorporate a lot of these steps. So as long as we are comfortable with doing these steps, you're going to have almost no problem at all getting these mechanics done, right? And then from there, as long as our setup is good, it opens every door of possibility, right? Like even if I want to go off the back wall, right? Like if I want to go off the back wall, same kind of thing applies. Like obviously it'll be a little bit different, um, but in essence, matching the speed to the of your car to the ball, making sure that there's no bounce on it, so it flushes like flushly drives or rolls up the wall without bouncing off, and you having to like deal with an uncomfortable bounce like that. And the same thing with like over on the corner or anything like that. Everything kind of stems from this kind of setup here. But once we're good at that, once we're grinding those setups, we can grind our car control, we can grind our ball control, and then I mean that's kind of all the pieces to the puzzle, right? And then just be patient with yourself. Obviously, air dribbling in terms of freestyle mechanics is probably the simplest thing you can do, but obviously you get someone a brand new controller, tell them to air dribble, even if they know like every single setup possible, like every single step that I've told them, implementing it is just completely different, right? And putting hours into the game, putting hours into grinding the mechanics, practicing is going to give you the most results, right? To get good at air dribbles, practice your fucking air dribbles. To get good at flip resets, practice your fucking flip resets. But before we get that in depth, grind this setup. Think about those steps, do them, make it muscle memory, make it so you can adapt on a different balance or anything like that to create the ball to go flush against the wall, making sure we're making contact right above that banner, making sure we're single jumping right as we make contact, and then from there it's just being able to adapt like through the game, right? But put hours in and you will improve. It really is that simple.